When Dick's employer goes bankrupt, he and his wife Jane go broke and look for ways to make ends meet. Eventually, they resort to crime and decide to rob a crooked CEO to get their money back. Hello and welcome to Comedy Recap. Today we will give you a recap of the film Fun with Dick and Jane. Spoilers ahead, obviously. Without further ado, let's dive right into it. The movie starts with Dick leaving his house in his car and seems to be late for work. He has a nice house and a nice family car. On the way to work, he keeps repeating a line so that he won't forget it, as if he is trying to memorize it. In a hurry, he also runs through a red light, and the camera takes a photo of him with a funny face. The line he was constantly repeating during his drive to the office was for a sales pitch for his company called Globodyne. Dick is an employee of Globodyne. He manages to perfectly say the line, which makes his customers happy, and they end their conversation with a laugh. Dick's wife Jane, on the other hand, works at a call center. She is often seen dealing with frustrated customers with petty problems. They both have a son together whose name is Billy. Since both parents are living their lives at a very fast pace, Billy is looked after by a maid called Blanca. Blanca is from Mexico and has taught Billy a lot of Spanish as well. They also have a dog called Spot, who barks a lot. In an attempt to keep him from barking, they put an electrical collar on Spot's neck, which gives him a shock every time he barks. However, it is removed later on when they learn how painful it actually is. In the earlier scene, it can be seen that Dick is doing good in life and is a very competitive person. His neighbor Joe buys the latest Mercedes S500, which has voice command features in its key, which makes Dick a bit jealous, but he's satisfied with his BMW. It could be seen that Dick is a funny man, making jokes all the time. After a couple of days, when Dick gets to the office, he is told by an assistant that the big boys upstairs want to see Dick. Dick first asks if it's the 20th floor, the 26th floor, the 32nd floor, but soon realizes it's the 51st floor, where the CEO, CFO, and other major heads of the company sit. He gets super excited and makes his way up using the elevator. Most of the people leave the elevator at lower floors, and he is the only one to go to the very top. He is very certain that he is going to get a promotion and cannot contain his happiness. When he reaches there, he gets impressed when he sees the CEO, Jack, leave in his helicopter. He is greeted by the CFO, Frank, who tells Dick that he has been promoted to VP of Communications. He also tells him that he is invited to the house of CEO Jack on Monday for a breakfast. On Monday, at the CEO's house, Dick is informed that he is going to be appearing on a talk show called Money Life in the afternoon. On the show, Dick is questioned about the corruption and cases of his superiors at Globodyne. This leaves him speechless, and he gets fumbled since he is unaware of any of that. He faces severe humiliation. When he comes back to the office, he sees that everything is out of order. Documents are being shredded and records are being destroyed. He enters the office of Frank, the CFO, who is extremely drunk. He tells Dick that the CEO Jack had planned this from the start. He has stolen from the company, leaving it bankrupt, and he himself has left. Shocked, Dick comes home to find out that his wife had also left her job after hearing about the promotion of Dick. For the next few months, Dick makes calls and searches for new jobs but cannot find any. He is then invited to an interview for a company called Pyramid Tech. When he reaches there, he finds out that 3 to 4 people are rushing for the interview. He increases his pace as well, only to find out his colleagues from Globodyne called Oz was also there for the interview. They both tried to slow each other down while going for the interview, only to realize in the end that there was already a very long queue above. Someone recognizes Dick and takes him to his office. Dick thinks he'll be getting special treatment, only to realize the people are there to ridicule him, mimicking Dick when he was stuttering on the television interview. Dick and Jane slowly sell all of their belongings and go bankrupt. They don't have any money left. They sell their car and their furniture. They also have to sell their TV and are unable to make the payment for their new lawn, which is also taken back. Their maid Blanca tells Dick that a cousin of hers might be able to give Dick some work opportunity, but it's for illegal immigrants and Dick gets caught in the act. He is taken away and caught by the INS. He makes a narrow escape with Jane after almost getting caught again. Dick gets fed up and wants to do something. He steals pieces of grass from lawns, golf courses, etc. to build his lawn back up and partially does, just to get the satisfaction out of it. When nothing is working and the couple is fed up, something again happens which adds to their misery. The bank sends them a notice to either pay up or vacate their house within the next 24 hours. This frightens Dick up, who keeps it to himself. He takes his son's water pistol in the middle of the night and goes out in hopes of looting stores. His wife follows him, thinking he's joking and just trying to cheer up in these depressing times. They both go out, and after multiple failed attempts are finally able to rob a store. They get the hang of it and started robbing more and more stores. They become professional with it, and then over the next few days, rob coffee shops and other stores. with proper makeup, costumes, and even voice changing equipment. They even use their neighbor's Mercedes S500 to crash into a jewelry store to rob it. They are once doing a bank heist when other criminals also come in and are caught by the police. They turn out to be Oz and his wife. Depressed on what they had become and seeing the news later that night that Dick was also about to be indicted regarding the Globodyne scandal. Drunk Dick and his sober wife Jane run into Frank at a bar. He tries to run away, but they catch them and force to pay him back. He tells them that Jack has all the money and derives a plan with Dick and Jane to rob Jack this time. All they have to do at Jack's bank is to switch out a form Jack is supposed to submit shortly with a fake one which has another account number on it other than Jack's. However, this has to be done while Jack himself was in the bank since he had to sign the form. After multiple hurdles, they finally do get to do it, but Jack does catch the mistake. He then comes to Dick and Jane and tells them he's clever enough to know his enemies. But as he is leaving, Dick scares Jack with his son's toy pistol and asks him for a check, saying he will not leave the building empty-handed. He writes a $100 check and tells Dick this is his worth. Jane gets sad, but does not realize Dick did this only to get Jack's signature. He uses it to transfer a whopping $400 million, which Jack has looted into a pension fund account for the employees of Globodyne. The next day, he surprises Jack at his home with a media team and makes it seem as if Jack has done a donation. He also uses his connections to put Jack on the Money Life show as Jack had put Dick on before. He makes him get humiliated and embarrassed, the same way Dick had gotten while giving his interview. The people think Jack is their hero because to the outside world, it seems as if he has donated. In reality, he was a corporate thug who had been looting people and had fallen into this trap without knowing. Dick had one-upped Jack this time. The movie ends with Dick and Jane paying the employees back their pensions, and at the very end, Dick is comparing his convertible to his neighbor Joe's, the same way they did at the start of the movie with their BMW and Mercedes. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you can watch more videos like this. Thanks for watching.